When we think we're old, we are old. And Jack used to say, aging is like a sport. You got to train for it. If you want to live long, you've got to have a project. Always have something to do. Something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. I don't think about age. Age is, as everybody says, it's very trite, but it's just a number. I pay attention to my physical age and my mental age, and I try to keep my mental capacity in tune.
Welcome to the Hard Way podcast with Joe Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Races. We're teaching you how to overcome your obstacles in your life the same way we teach our 10 million plus Spartans to overcome obstacles on the course, with insight from the smartest, most accomplished experts from every corner of the world. Get ready to elevate your life today.
Joe Sena, CEO and founder of Spartan, host of the Hard Way podcast. I've got the hardest, the toughest woman on earth, my friend, Lala LaLanne. If you don't know her, you've been living under a rock. Her husband basically created Spartan back in the 1950s. Even before that, he's a workout machine. Look him up, Google him if you don't know Jack LaLanne. But amazing guy. Lala is his wife. Jack is no longer with us, but she's here carrying the torch. She's motivating people. I watched her do push-ups in front of me, more push-ups than most 20-year-olds could do. She says you have to earn your breakfast. I stole that line from her. She's an amazing woman, and she's here with us. Welcome, Lala.
Thank you. I'm doing jackknives now. I don't touch my toes, but I touch my ankles. No, I'm not. That's my specialty now because I don't like to get down on the floor. So I find a table or something and I can show off my jackknives.
I love it. Clearly, look, how old are you now, Lala?
I'm just a baby, 98.
98 years old. She's got her wits about her. We were just having an unbelievable conversation. She's doing jackknives on the kitchen table before she whips up a dinner. She's unbelievable. I like it. So
your kids are all grown up now. My goodness sake, it's 11 years since I've been down, since I worked with you on the Beast.
That's right.
Beast. And that was the Beast.
You were on the farm. You came to the farm. We had a giant dinner with you. You met all the kiddos. You met my little baby, who's now 11. So that was 11. That was 11 years ago. We are in Orlando, Florida right now.
You got to go over to the Universal Cabana Beach Resort Hotel and see Jack's memorabilia. They came here and cloned everything. He got his jumpsuit. He's got the surfboard, all the stuff, all this memorabilia. Big gym there.
I will go. I would definitely go see it. So we came down here because after the pandemic, I couldn't get anybody to come back in the office consistently, and I was losing my mind. And so I said to my wife, where can we move and open an office where I can get people in the office and I could be working together with other human beings? And so we chose Florida. We still have the farm in Vermont. I'll be up there in about a week. We're going to be torturing people just like you remember when you were up on the farm.
Right. Are they going to have to go climb hills and go under the water and the mud and all that stuff?
Of course. Anytime anybody...
You're going to have a small one like you did for the kids in Vermont?
Yep. We do the small ones. We do the big ones. I got a 72-hour one. You're going to love this. I lied to about 100 people this year, and I told them to come out to the farm and that we're going to have a conference and we're going to be doing fireside chats and we're going to have nice meals together. What they don't know is that I'm going to throw them right into the death race, and they're going to be carrying logs and they're going to be hiking mountains and in cold water. So that's going to be fun.
I'm going to have a roll. You have to thing over the water, and then if they don't do it, and if they miss, they got to do burpees.
Yes, of course. That's what we do. You know that.
Yeah, I know the whole thing. It's fun.
What have you been doing the last 11 years since I haven't been with you? What have you been up to?
Writing books. I wrote 2 books. One is If You Want to Live Moo, Putting the Boom Back into Boomers.
I like that.
With Jamie Brinkus. And the last one is Jack's writings. He said, everything starts between your ears, your brain. What moves your finger? Your brain. In other words, all his writings have this theme about using your mind. Your mind, he says, is a mine. It's full of diamonds. And all you have to do is dig them up. So that's pride and discipline, the legacy of Jack LaLanne in his own words and those he's inspired. And you're in the book.
I'm in the book.
You're in the book. You said you had one line in the book. You're very short. You know, we wanted him to write something, and he wrote one little line. And it's really, really cute.
I'm most excited. Number one, I'm most excited that I'm having this conversation with you. But number two, that you recruited Mark Wahlberg to play Jack, and you got a movie coming.
Yes, that you know how long those movies take. I mean, forever. You know, so that's down the line. We're doing a documentary first. His company, Unrealistic Ideas, they're doing the documentary first. So I've saved stuff. Jack was not a saver. He didn't save anything, but I did. And I've got so much, well, I guess you'd call it stuff and junk. So I've got all that we're going to put into this documentary, and then later on comes the movie, I guess. But I may not make it. Less than 2 years from 100.
But I will tell you, I know you're a positive thinker. I know you're a go-getter. I have conversations with, 65-year-old, 70-year-old every day. At 98, you've got it together, woman. You're crushing it. So maybe just stop counting. Don't even count to 100.
Well,
just keep.
I don't think about age. Age is, as everybody says, it's very trite, but it's just a number. You have 3 ages. You have your chronological age, you have your mental age, and you have your physical age. I don't pay any attention to the chronological. I pay attention to my physical age and my mental age, and I try to keep my mental capacity in tune.
You're crushing it. I love it. You've got this Guinness Book of World Record thing you're cooking up. What do you got going there?
Well, we got, every year I give away, the first one was the Jane Fonda and a whole bunch of people, the Jack LaLanne Award to someone who's inspired the world to fitness, because I accepted it for Jack when he died at Idea Fit World. And so this year what we're going to do is we're going to break the world record of 2,251 jumping jacks, because Jack was familiar with, he did this every morning, opened his show with it for 34 years. And so we're going to break the world record of 2,251 jumping jacks simultaneously on July 12th at 1:00 in the afternoon in Los Angeles. We're going to have it not at the Marriott, but the convention center. So, and we're inviting everybody to come out that's in Los Angeles area. They can come to the convention center on that day. They can just tune into Idea Fit at ideafit.com and sign up. But we need people to sign up because we got to prove it that you're jumping. And then, or you can go into JackLaLanne.com. We've got a new website, so I want everybody to see it anyway. So hop in there, and if you're living, I don't care where you're living. If you're in Europe, if you're in Orlando, Florida, Minnesota, that's where I come from, and or you're wherever you are, you can sign up at JackLaLanne.com. So hop in there, and you'll see a lot. You can get all the information, and it's the Jack LaLanne Jumping Jack Challenge. There, I see.
I love it. I'm going to get involved. I recently was with Admiral Harward, Harward, an amazing admiral that has a workout he's been doing every day for 35 plus years. Part of his workout are these incredibly strict jumping jacks that I believe he got from your husband. So I told the admiral about that. Perfectly straight arms. He's maniacal about it. It's a very difficult workout that this gentleman does. this admiral does. I told him about it. He's in Abu Dhabi. So he's going to join in the festivities from Abu Dhabi.
Oh, great. That's great. We want everybody that, when I mention it to somebody, they'll say, oh, that sounds like fun. I mean, it's not going to take that much time. It's from the reason they're doing it is because of my being 98. But if you could do one, you're in, you're counted because, at least you did it simultaneously,
I agree. Super, super exciting. So I don't know what else is going on. Fill me in on some other cool stuff happening at the Lala household.
Well, I've got a book that I've never finished. Really good stuff. It's not a biography. It's not an autobiography because we keep everything short. Jack and I started in 2004, and I've been writing those other books, and I've got so much to do before I die. So that's one I want to get out. It tells about his early life on the sheep ranch. His grandfather was a sheep rancher, and so it tells about that. But I haven't finished it. It's right in the middle. I got up to 1970, and then we quit. So I've always got a project. If you want to live long, you've got to have a project. Always have something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. And I live by my arch. You know what my arch is?
What is your arch?
My arch is A for attitude. You are your attitude. R is for resistance. Resisting gives you. If you resist this muscle, it's going to pop up, But if you just go like this, nothing's going to happen. So resistance is the key is getting the job done in exercise and resisting the food that's undermining your health. That's the R. C for consistency. So that's ARC. C for consistency, consistent in the good food that you put in your body, and then H is if you have a good attitude, you do resistance, resist the food, and resist and make the resistance, make your muscles tone up with the resistance, and then you've got the H the C for consistency and H for harmony. If you have all these, you have harmony.
I love it. I just stole a couple of those. I really like it. I argue all the time that people need a date on the calendar. You said it more succinctly with you need something to do. Yeah. We've got to be chasing something at all times. Otherwise, we become complacent, right? We're just sitting and dying then.
And a lot of people say, my gosh, why do you keep doing all this stuff? I said, if I stop doing it, I'll die anyway. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I've worked all my life. And it's exciting. It's really exciting to have something to do and something to plan and something to look forward to.
Never stop doing. It's funny. People on the outside, they probably look at all you and your husband's success and just assume that it just happens, but they don't realize that it's years and decades of work.
Yes.
Right?
You have your ups and downs. You have your things that that good years, you have the bad years. And the reason I wear this hat is because I have macular degeneration. The light sometimes bothers my eyes. And, when we think we're old, we are old. And people often die of neglect, not old age. And Jack used to say, aging is like a sport. You got to train for it. I just feel that I'm mentally, this is what you got to look for the positive side. Too many people today look for the negative side of everything. And they blame, and a lot of people are blame. No, Jack says, I only have myself to blame for what I've gotten myself into or whatever I got into. When you really look at it, you should have thought about it first, but you didn't. And so sometimes we get we get our foot caught in the door or whatever.
No, that extreme ownership, that idea of always putting yourself out there and saying, look, I own this. I didn't train hard enough. I didn't go to bed early enough. I didn't resist the cookie. I didn't do enough work. That's a much better way to live than to pass the blame.
So you try to do the best you can. This is another quote of Jack's. I do the best I can with the equipment I have. You know, he used to have the one-liners and everything. If you keep things simple, you know, don't make things in your life complicated. Because if you make everything simple, and that's why I keep my books and everything. I try to keep it simple and concise, and so that, you know, to get the point over.
I'm writing a new book now about quitting.
Oh, I have your old book too.
Yes, you were my first person to buy any of my books. I appreciated that. No one wanted my book, but you took a chance on me, and I like that. What are your thoughts on quitting? Because you seem like a person that would never quit. Over your dead body, would you ever quit? Jack would never quit.
No, he did all those swims. I mean, he always saw himself. He pictured himself coming out of the water. He never had a negative thought that he couldn't do it. He always felt that you've got that same thing. You're not a quitter. You see everything as it's already happened. I've seen that in you. He would never ever quit. I can tell you one time we had to quit, but I'll tell you that in a minute. But if you quit, you have just ruined everything. Let me tell you about a time when he had to quit. He wanted to water ski on one ski to the Farallon Islands, which is almost 30 miles from San Francisco. He hired a helicopter. He practiced with it. And I had to sit up in the helicopter. And the first time they brought him up, he's hanging up way there. So now we're on our way to the Farallon Islands with one ski. And it's 30 miles there and 30 miles back. Halfway there, Rick, the pilot, said to me, he looked at me and said, there's so much wind up there that we can get to the Farallon Islands, but we can't get back. And there's no life out there. Birds, lots of birds. So I had to make the decision to okay, Rick, turn around right now and we're going to go back. So that's the only time we had to quit.
Did you or Jack regret the quit?
No, I did not regret that quit because it was either how are we going to get back? How's the helicopter going to get back? And that was a dumb move to do, is to go out there and sit there and then try to. In those days, you didn't have cell phones, and so we'd be sitting out there. And I don't know, I just made that decision. And of course, Jack didn't know what was going down. Now he was on the water ski down below, but that's the only time I've ever quit on anything. But if you're a quitter, you're going to go around in life without a rudder. It's a ship. You're going to be a ship without a rudder because you're going to quit here. Oh, well, that's too hard, and so that nothing ever happens. So if you want something to happen, don't be a quitter. If you want to just have a pity party for yourself and sit around and, well, I wish I had done that, but so that's what I think about quitters.
I think of this idea that getting to the top of the mountain is optional. Getting back down the mountain is mandatory. That was quoted by a famous climber. I love that quote. But getting home with the water ski was mandatory. Getting to that island was optional.
Yes.
But our brains are weak. Our brain, maybe not Jack's brain, maybe not your brain, but our brains are weak and they want us to quit because it's too hard.
Yes.
And so how do we know, Lala? How do we know when it's okay to turn around and when it's not?
Well, the consequences. What are the consequences? What is it going to do? You have to look ahead. Um, I just had another thought that flitted out of my head, but I got so many things going through my head right now. I can't get them out.
Well, how does a regular person, not quit? They're not as tough as you. They're not as tough as Jack. What should they do?
There's a lot of times when you. There's a lot of times when I've been on the computer and then I've lost everything in there. I've written. I've spent all this time writing it, and I want to sit down there and quit and say, hell with it. And then I say to myself, if you want this job done, you better just get your mind in gear and start all over again, and you'll be better. You'll be better the next time you do it. So the next time you think about it, or the whatever, I was right. That was an example that I could think of right then and there, because there's a lot of times I've written this thing, I thought it was really terrific, and then it goes bang. I lost it in the computer. But I found out that when I redid it, it was better than the first time. And I've seen that happen with with Jack when he was. They'd say, "Hey, Jack, do this, do this. Can you do something for 10 seconds? Can you do it for 5 seconds? Can you say this at the end of, when we got to be on the tour with different TV stations and whatnot?" He was always a one take, but if something screwed up with the technical stuff, and he said, "Oh, can you do this over again, Jack?" He would do it over, and it was better the second time. So just don't be a quitter, because everything's going to be better when you don't quit.
I could even hear it in your voice. You regret a little bit turning that helicopter around, but it was a smart decision. We very rarely ever regret fighting through and finishing what we started. We very rarely regret that.
Right.
But the quit lives forever in your brain.
Did you get anything for your book?
I did.
I don't know. You just asked me these questions. He just comes off the top of his head, and I'm off the top of my head, and so I don't know whether it made sense or not. But that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Oh, that's good. How should people get started if they're not eating healthy and they're not exercising and they're not happy and they're not motivated? What do you suggest they do to get started?
First of all, you have to want to do it. Because if you don't want to do it, then you're not going to do it. See what I mean? In other words, if you don't want to do it, you have to want to, you have to have that desire to do it. Oh yes, I'd like to lose 10 pounds, or oh yes, I'd like to exercise, but I just don't have the time. The time, that's a lot of people say, I don't have the time. You have time to tie your shoes. You have time to brush your teeth. You have time to do anything you want to do. If you want to go to a movie, you have the time because you want to go there. You really want to do this for yourself. If you want to live a long life like I have, you have to do what the first thing that Jack said to me when I was a junk food junkie and chocolate donuts and smoking cigarettes and stuff. He said, if you do everything in moderation, you can't go wrong. And that stuck with me the rest of my life. I've always think moderation. He says, you don't eat 100 apples a day, do you? You just do everything that and want to do it. deep down here, in here, you want to do it.
You're right. I mean, we want to eat the donut. We want to hit the snooze button in the
Yeah.
morning. We want to sit on the couch and eat popcorn and watch the movie. We don't really want to eat the salad. We don't really want to do the workout. We don't really want to sit in front of the computer for 4 hours and type the book. You got to decide, I guess. You got to decide what you want.
First of all, in order for you to do this, you have to like yourself. You have to like yourself. You have to pat yourself on the back. And too many people don't like themselves, so therefore that's why they don't like to do anything for their body or for their mind or whatever. Because that's number one that you got to learn, and you have to be your best friend.
Which means you got to hold yourself accountable.
Right.
You got to be constantly pushing yourself like a best friend would. You got to take care of yourself.
Right. Right.
Because if you're not doing it, who's doing it?
No, nobody else. They got to do it themselves, you know. And I hope and pray that people that are maybe even listening today, that if you are down on yourself, there's only one person like you. Nobody's like you, because you're individualized in this world. There's no two grains of sand alike. There's no two leaves on a tree that's alike. There's nothing that's just actually alike. And even twins, they might have a little difference, this or that, or pufflets or whatever, but just learn to like yourself, and then be your best friend, and pat yourself on the back, and don't get down on yourself. Oh, a lot of times you don't. What did I do that for?
Hold yourself to high standards.
Yes, right. So,
Lala, how do people find you if they want to get in touch with you or they want to see what you're up to?
I'm on JackLaLanne.com, and you can go in there and look around, and there's all sorts of stuff about me, and there's phone numbers in there to call if you want to get in touch with me and whatnot. And then, of course, I want to remind everybody, if you don't mind, about the LaLanne Jumping Jack Challenge idea. This year, I'm going to give away the LaLanne Award to Gilad Jackowitz. He had Bodies in Motion from Hawaii, and he's getting the LaLanne Award this year at the IDEA at convention. It's from the 11th through the 14th at the LA Convention Center in the West Hall, and we'd love to have you. If you want to jump on the 12th, we would love to have you come down there and come in, and we'll open our Janice Austin's going to be with me, and there's a lot of celebrities going to be with me down there and we're going to be jumping at 1:00 at the IDEA convention at the West Hall at the convention center in Los Angeles. And then you can always go on my website and find out how to sign up. But we need you to sign up. So go into IdeaFit and .com and sign up, or go into Jack LaLanne. Not going to be able to come down to the convention center.
I love it. You're amazing. I look forward to seeing you.
I want to thank you for you being interested in helping us out for this too, Joe. You're all your beasts out there.
We only exist because of you and your husband. So you did a great job in inspiring the world. You got the Spartan Nation going. You're amazing.
God bless you. God, say hello to Courtney and the kids.
I will.